You feed your dog because you love them. It is that simple. Every scoop of kibble, every table scrap slipped under the counter when no one is looking, every treat tossed in the air and caught mid-flight, these are gestures of affection, tiny declarations that this creature matters to you. But here is the paradox that keeps veterinarians awake at night. Love, when uninformed, can become the very thing that harms what we cherish most. You think you know what is safe. You have lived with food your entire life, navigated grocery stores and kitchens, understood instinctively what nourishes and what destroys. But your dog exists in a different biological universe, one where the chemistry of survival operates by rules that contradict your own. What heals you can kill them. What comforts you can send their organs into catastrophic failure. This is not metaphor, this is molecular reality. Consider chocolate, that universal symbol of reward and pleasure. Inside its sweet architecture lies theobromine, a compound. Your body metabolizes with ease, but your dog processes with agonizing slowness. To them, chocolate is not indulgence. It is poison accumulating in their bloodstream, attacking their heart, overstimulating their nervous system until seizures arrive like uninvited storms. Dark chocolate, baking chocolate, even cocoa powder. These contain concentrated doses that can transform a moment of sharing into a medical emergency. You see a treat. Their biology sees a threat. Grapes and raisins present an even more sinister mystery. Scientists still cannot fully explain why these fruits trigger acute kidney failure in dogs. There is no clear toxin identified, no predictable dose-response curve. Some dogs eat grapes without incident. Others consume just a few and spiral into renal shutdown, their bodies betraying them for reasons medicine cannot yet articulate. This uncertainty makes grapes particularly dangerous. You cannot calculate the risk. You can only avoid it entirely. Onions and garlic belong to the allium family, and they wage a quiet war against canine red blood cells. These vegetables contain compounds that oxidize hemoglobin, the molecule responsible for carrying oxygen through the bloodstream. Slowly, meal by meal, they destroy the cells that keep your dog alive. The damage is cumulative. A little garlic powder in baby food, some onion in leftover soup. These seemingly harmless additions stack up until anemia arrives, pale gums and weakness, and a body struggling to breathe. By the time symptoms appear, the destruction has been underway for days. Xylitol represents modern danger, an artificial sweetener hiding in sugar-free gum, peanut butter, baked goods, even toothpaste. In humans, xylitol passes through the system unremarkably. In dogs, it triggers a massive insulin release, plunging blood sugar to life-threatening lows within minutes. Hypoglycemia arrives fast. Weakness, tremors, seizures, collapse. If the dose is high enough, liver failure follows. One stick of gum, that is sometimes all it takes. Macadamia nuts cause a strange still unexplained syndrome in dogs. Within 12 hours of ingestion, they develop weakness in their hind legs, tremors, vomiting, hyperthermia. The condition usually resolves within 48 hours, but those 2 days are torture for an animal that cannot understand why their body has stopped cooperating. The mechanism remains unknown. The suffering is undeniable. Avocado contains persin, a fungicidal toxin concentrated in the leaves, bark, and pit, but present throughout the fruit. While dogs are less sensitive to persin than birds or horses, large amounts can still cause vomiting and diarrhea. The pit presents an additional threat: obstruction. A blocked intestinal tract turns a healthy dog into a surgical emergency within hours. Alcohol affects dogs with brutal efficiency. Their smaller size and different metabolism mean even small amounts. A spilled beer, rum-soaked cake, unbaked bread dough fermenting in the stomach can lead to intoxication, respiratory failure, coma, death. There is nothing funny about a drunk dog. There is only danger. Coffee and tea carry caffeine, another methylxanthine, like the theobromine in chocolate. It overstimulates the central nervous system and heart, causing restlessness, rapid breathing, heart palpitations, muscle tremors, bleeding. Coffee grounds in the trash, tea bags left on the counter. These become hazards when you share your home with a creature driven by scent and curiosity. Raw yeast dough rises in the warm, moist environment of a stomach, expanding until it causes bloat, a condition where the stomach twists on itself, cutting off blood flow, creating a cascade toward death. Meanwhile, the fermenting yeast produces ethanol, adding alcohol poisoning to the equation. 2 threats in one seemingly innocent lump of dough. Cooked bones, especially chicken and turkey, become brittle when heated. They splinter into shards that puncture intestines, lodge in throats, create blockages that require surgery. Raw bones are safer, but cooked bones transform from food into weapons. Excessive salt leads to sodium ion poisoning, vomiting, diarrhea, tremors, elevated body temperature, seizures. It is hiding in chips, pretzels, processed meats, even homemade Play-Doh. Dogs lack the physiological mechanisms to handle high sodium loads the way humans do. Nutmeg contains myristicin, which in sufficient quantities causes hallucinations, increased heart rate, disorientation, seizures. Holiday baking becomes a minefield. Raw meat and eggs carry salmonella and E. coli. bacteria that can overwhelm a dog already stressed or immunocompromised. Beyond infection risk, raw egg whites contain biotin, an enzyme that inhibits biotin absorption, leading to skin and coat problems over time. Persimmons, peaches, and plums all contain seeds or pits that cause intestinal obstruction. The seeds of persimmons can also cause inflammation of the small intestine. Rhubarb leaves contain oxalates that decrease calcium in the system, leading to kidney failure and other medical problems. Apple seeds, cherry pits, apricot pits, all contain cyanogenic glycosides that release cyanide when digested. The dose in a single seed is small, but accumulation is possible. And why take the risk when the cost could be your companion breathing their last breath because you did not know? Fat trimmings, both cooked and raw, can cause pancreatitis, an inflammation of the pancreas that brings intense pain, vomiting, and potential organ failure. The pancreas, overwhelmed by processing fats it was not designed to handle, essentially begins to digest itself. Liver, in large amounts, causes vitamin A toxicity, affecting muscles and bones. Moderation is possible, but excess creates deformity and pain. Milk and dairy products often cause digestive upset because many dogs are lactose intolerant, lacking sufficient quantities of the enzyme lactase needed to break down milk sugar. Raw fish can contain parasites and bacteria. Certain species like salmon and trout can carry parasites that cause salmon poisoning disease, which is often fatal if untreated. Corn on the cob does not digest. It blocks intestines completely, requiring emergency surgery. You stand in your kitchen, surrounded by food that keeps you alive, and nearly a quarter of it could kill the animal looking up at you with complete trust. This is the weight of love, knowing that your care requires constant vigilance. That affection is not enough, that good intentions pave roads to suffering when they are not backed by knowledge. The loneliness of this responsibility is profound. You are the guardian between your dog and a world full of invisible dangers. No one else can do this. No one else will monitor every fallen grape, every dropped nut, every seemingly harmless leftover. This is your burden, the price of admission for the privilege of their companionship. But here is what that vigilance builds: a fortress of safety around a creature who depends on you entirely. Your knowledge becomes their shield. Your discipline becomes their longevity. In a world that often feels chaotic and beyond control, this is one domain where your actions directly translate into life or death, health or suffering. You feed your dog because you love them. Now you feed them knowing the architecture of that love is built on what you withhold as much as what you provide.